allowed to say.
You got to go there late night.
Yes,
but
that's the way to go.
It's been cool to see all the celebs that come through Chicago. I feel like it's the Wener Circle is kind of making its presence
Did you
known.
ever see there was a really great Conan O'Brien sketch where he sent Jack McBrayer, widely known to be famously of 30 Rock. He was Second City for a long time. Widely kind of like the oh shucks nicest comedian in Hollywood, and sent him
to Wener
I didn't
Circle.
See that. It is one of the great late night comedy sketches. I knew it. I've been to Chicago a long time. I knew that sketch before I even came to Chicago. It is fantastic.
Maybe we can pull that up. I'm intrigued.
I worry about the
family-friendly.
Yes, the family-friendly aspect of it. We'll let Jenna.
Who was the little insult dog?
Oh, he was there too.
Okay, because I remember.
The dog was there too.
The dog. Yeah, I can't remember.
It's got the cigar in his mouth. Yeah.
So I remember he visited the Wener Circle, but
he was there when Jack McBrayer went.
Oh,
same sketch.
Oh, same sketch. Oh yeah, we definitely can't air that one. False emergency, guys.
Yeah.
All right, and we are also diving into some architecture buzz, which is kind of getting a little attention this morning on Reddit. All right, Reddit's subreddit, Chicago. It's been busy this week with everything from skyscraper debates, which I'm a nerd for, as you know, Jake.
Well, we've had some good. Well, I mean, I always say it's such a touristy thing, but the way I genuinely love the architecture tour in the city, like it's the coolest way to walk around with family and friends when they come to visit and go, and just seem like you know what you're talking about.
Completely.
You kind of memorize like 7 to 12 facts about 7 to 12 buildings, and you go.
That's kind of right where I'm at too.
But
Jake, I mean, I'm not going to give away your coordinates or anything, but there's got to be a reason you chose to live where you live.
Right. I've got a nice
view. We've all
view
seen it in the
of,
background of your Zoom interviews from time. You should probably know all the facts of the buildings you see.
And I can just kind of I mean, it's not too dissimilar from what we got behind us.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a pretty great view. All right, so we're going to start with this architecture. This is Chicago, and one Reddit poster posed an interesting question here, and got me thinking: what skyscraper is most influenced by the city's architectural legacy? So there's some examples here. You know, form versus function, how it most creative, best spire, best facade. I don't know where that most wacky one is. Look at that on the side on the left, Jake.
Yeah.
Best shape, most futuristic, and the Hancock Tower, which we now, I guess, we're technically supposed to call it 875 North Michigan, although no one's not going to do that. The Hancock Tower came up among Chicagoans a lot, being described as bold, sleek, instantly recognizable. Some people think the Tribune Tower.
Sure.
Basically, I feel like I could get behind that one for what Chicago was in like the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah.
Think Tribune Tower for sure. Or then Aqua now.
Right over there.
Right over here.
Yeah.
These Jeannie Gang buildings kind of
that in St.
2020s.
Regis.
The St. Regis is a beautiful building. But in your mind, what would you say is the most Chicago skyscraper?
Okay, this is going to be like a roll your eyes, okay, yeah, sure, of course. But I have a very specific reason why I say this.
Okay.
So I feel like the quintessential building is Sears. And they're Willis.
Yeah.
But here's why I say, because if you know about the construction of that building, it's not one solid building.
Right.
It's a bunch of buildings that all connected that collectively move just a little bit because of the weather and the wind and everything. And so you couldn't have a building that tall in one sort of solid piece. So, you don't realize it, but all those little individual tall rectangular shapes are all collectively moving just a little bit. And I feel like that's, in a weird way, kind of poetic to the city, because that's what this city is. It's collectively groups of people all working together and kind of bending and swaying together collectively to form one beautiful function.
Did you think of that?
I swear on my soul I did just now. I didn't even know we were talking about this.
That was so beautiful, it sounds plagiarized.
Honestly, it probably, I swear to God, if you see that anywhere else, I did not look it up and I didn't know that this was a topic we were talking about today because I didn't look at the rundown. I'm sorry, Jenna.
All right, Jenna. I had thought of one earlier, but can I change mine to Jake's answer?
What was yours?
Mine was the Hancock.
Tell me why.
All right, so it's not going to compare to that answer, but I like how it shows its structure.
Sure.
Okay, the X pattern on the outside, that is the infrastructure. That's the it's like showing its exoskeleton, and like
it's not ashamed of what it is.
Exactly, and neither are we Chicagoans.
Exactly.
Right? We show who we are. And
see, your answer was just as beautiful and poetic as mine. What are you talking about?
The Sears and Hancock, they do kind of go hand in hand. I always thought, you know, the Hancock was built in 67 or 69. Sure. Sears came along a couple of years later. I always thought of like Big John as like the Sears is wise old grandpa, you know, and
well, you know what's so funny? It's always interesting, you know, as someone who didn't necessarily grow up here. Like I said, I've been here 12 years now. My sort of like introduction into what the Chicago skyline looked like. Any idea of what it would have been in pop culture?
Ferris Bueller?
That would have been a great. For me, it was the opening credits of the ABC sitcom Family Matters.
Oh,
and the opening shot is coming in across the lake, and you sort of see, and it's the skyline from the lake. But one of the major, they focus more on that on Hancock. Oh. So that's my quintessential sort of introduction.
If you see like I don't know the shape, it's like a rhombus maybe, or a whatever the shape is. My 7th grade geometry teacher would
and then the very upset that I don't know.
It's just instantly, because that's another reason why I went with the Hancock, is because it's just so instant. Yeah. Not that the Willis or Sears isn't, but those X's and then the structure of it, it's just so Chicago.
I've never seen, I know you can live there. There are condos in there, and I've always wanted to know, like, I'm assuming they all have sort of that slanted building.
I've never been inside either, up top, but I've seen pictures of there's a pool on one of the upper floors, and you can see, and that's why I love it, you can see like that diagonal.
See, again, it wears its heart on its sleeve. It is what it is. It's not trying to cover up anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so those are great answers.
If you have an apartment in Hancock, invite us over. We want to see it.
Exactly, or send in a photo, and if you don't want creepy guys in Jordan 1s coming over. All right, shifting gears from skyscrapers to sports. Okay, a lot of nostalgia with the whole new, I know the Knicks didn't make the finals.
A lot of upset celebrities this morning.
There is a small part of me, just because Jordan tore the hearts out of all Knicks fans back in the 90s, that was a little heartsick for New York, the Knicks. To come that close, the Pacers beat them. But it was, I don't know if I'm of a slightly different not generation, but a little bit older than you. How closely were you following the Bulls in the 90s?
I was very, I mean, you also have to keep in mind that
you were Texas, right?
I was originally from Houston at the time. And that gap in the Bulls' winning streak
was the Rockets one. The Olajuwon
the Olajuwon years, Clyde the Glide,
and
Hakeem the Dream.
And then was it Stacey was it?
So and a lot of people, I know a lot of people, particularly in Chicago, equate that to, well, those are the years that Jordan took off. But Jordan did come back for the back half of that second year. So to answer your question, yes, I was a basketball fan.
It was
very much in that era.
I would go as far as to say that the finals. The NBA Finals in those years, it was really the Eastern Conference Finals. Sure. The Knicks Bulls series, they were just battles. Yeah. I mean, I never remember loathing someone so much as John Starks during those series. So anyway, this is now coming up with the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, one post from a self-described 90s kid. Remember the 1992 Eastern Conference semifinals when the Bulls, led by Michael Jordan, knocked out the Knicks in their Game 7. The vibes, immaculate, and it kind of reminded everyone just how dominant that Bulls era really was.
I do want to ask you, because I always love asking people, because obviously I'm very jealous that I didn't get to live here during that time, and I feel like I missed something special. Did you feel like people ever took it for granted? Like you win 3, you win another 3. Like, was it special every time, or was a certain point was just like, okay?
It was special every time. Although when you have Michael Jordan on your team, you just it was like there's a famous clip of Dennis Rodman when Michael Jordan's at the free throw line in a crucial moment. Rodman just turns away from the basket and because he's so sure. He's like, oh, MJ doesn't miss. I don't even need to worry about rebounding the ball. And it was a 1-and-1. So there's a little bit of that. So it was special every time. But when you got Jordan on your team, you're like,
did you ever get to meet Jordan?
What? We're going to win. Never.
Never?
Never.
I really thought whenever I moved here, like it wasn't a matter of if, but when I was going to meet Jordan. Man. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet for me either. But
Michael, invite us over. Someone's going to invite us over before the show's over.
I understand. We have a clip from Reddit from an old 90s kid.
3-3, and it's been an exciting series, and I'm sure a lot of New York fans will be ready to go to Chicago for the big game tomorrow.
That's right. They're going to be flying there. And that's why right now, we'd like to offer those New York fans a few tips on how to handle the long, painful flight back home.
That's great, because
I was ready to watch the whole thing. I could have kept watching.
Oh man, you just
Those
gotta
guys
love.
were great.
You gotta miss Farley.
Oh, man.
I love how Farley, who played Todd, I think
Yeah.
was his name on the show. He takes a sip of his beer and he always goes. You miss the super fans, right? And
I
then
do.
R.I.P. George Wendt.
I
too.
know.
I don't know if he was
I
in
know.
that clip right there, but all right. Now for some a little bit sillier, very Reddit though, Jake. One tourist posted a T-shirt that they found. Speaking of Willis Tower, in the gift shop at Willis Tower. Now I want to flash the photo up here to see if Jake notices anything. You gotta look at this monitor over here. It's a little bit bigger. You notice anything odd about either of those?
Well, the hot dog bun is blue.
There you go.
Right? Yeah.
There you go. So that was evidently a
Oh,
misprint.
they swapped off the, I guess the chair.
The
that he's
one
sitting
on-
in and
Yes.
the bun swapped colors.
They reversed it.
Ooh.
Is it a mistake or an iconic masterpiece? So
I mean,
whoever-
but that's always the thing you want, right? You want the book with the misprint. You want the
so whoever
it's a
took that
collector's
picture.
item.
Yeah, exactly. So what happened
Yeah.
was whoever visited
Yeah.
the gift shop took that side by
Yeah.
side, realized, wait, I should have probably bought
Probably,
that.
yeah.
Called the gift shop
Yeah.
a month later, and according to the Reddit person, don't want to get in trouble here because I haven't journalistically reached out to the
Sure.
other side, the folks at the gift shop,
Yeah.
but said that whoever answered was real like, what's the word, cagey about
Wow.
it, like really like, oh, no, that never, trying to sweep it under
Yeah,
the rug,
yeah.
so they didn't have any more.
I mean, that's also just a very innocent mistake. It's not like there was a swear
No,
word on it
no,
or
I
anything
know.
like that. That's what I thought it was going to be. That's where I thought this was going.
All right, this
I think-
just a little bit
it's
moldy.
Just a little moldy.
Okay.
Well, it's like, do you remember? Do you watch The Bear?
Oh, sure.
Remember there was
First two seasons.
there was a misprint because
Oh,
this was
yeah.
like the Burf. It said like instead of beef, it said Burf, and he was like, it's a collector's item.
And he rolled with that.
And he rolled
that
with
was,
it.
That was
Cousin.
cousin,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You just
right
it
here.
said the Burf.
And now, Jake, you probably answer this. Do they print that one?
Yeah, they did. They said they sent it out as a promotional item, as it said like Chicago Burf on it, and then you'd walk around, you're like, oh, it's a collector's item. Like it's like I don't know, it becomes like part of the bid. It's kind of nice. I like it.
When you're riding around, when you're driving around the city of Chicago,
Yep.
I'm sure I'm not alone here. Have you ever, in a rogue location, noticed someone biking,
Yep.
like on an interstate or
Yep.
on Lakeshore Drive?
Yep.
Or, okay, so this is next level on this. This is also popping up on Reddit, and you're going to get super upset about this as a dog lover. A dog spotted on Lakeshore Drive on the drive. Oh, good. Okay, at least he's strapped in.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't do that, the least of which is that I can't ride a motorcycle. But
One-handed.
I'm also fairly, who am I to say? I don't know what this guy's situation is, particularly in relationship with his dog. I am so protective of my girl Daenerys that I think I would just, my thought is like, if I get in an accident, let whatever happens to me, but don't hurt my dog because I
don't
get in an
hurt the
accident. Yeah.
pooch.
So no, that's, oh no, what is happening right now? What is happening?
This is, by the way, this is not AI. This is a real photo.
That's also
and
a great picture.
and-
by the way.
and the other thing about it
What
is
happening right now?
Jake is going 65 miles an hour in this picture, and his hair is not moving.
Dude, my hair has not moved since the late 90s. It just stays still.
That's a fantastic.
Jenna, did you do this?
This is Delaney.
Delaney.
Delaney, come on.
Art.
Hashtag new
I
profile
need
pic.
that printed out. Daenerys looks great, by the way. That's fantastic. I was
Okay.
not expecting that.
Okay, so when we come back, we're going to take a short break here. But when we come back, we're going to switch from Reddit to TikTok and what
Love
is
it.
trending for us Midwesterners. The only tease I can give you is it does have to do with our beloved Wener Circle. We will be right back.
Welcome back, Chicago Now. Fun little theme song, cool little graphic. You guys are just firing on all cylinders this Monday morning.
Aren't we impressive?
You know what else is impressive? Social media algorithms.
Yeah, they
because
are.
you look on Instagram, you look on TikTok, you look on Twitter, and just wherever you're at or whatever you just so happen to be talking about with a friend that day, all of a sudden
it's there.
It's in your feed.
Jake, I've been I'm fairly open with our viewers here on Chicago Now. I've been like self-conscious about dark circles right here, right? As we broadcast, as we vain broadcasters tend to be. I was literally, I've never even, that's actually the first time I've said it out loud. To at home, on air, whatever. Somehow.
Exactly right.
There are, I don't know if they know that it's in my head. There's a chip in my head that is, I'm getting ads for how to make them, you know.
Yeah. Well, the reason we bring that up is because one of the algorithm, the focuses that we often sort of pull up on the show, Midwest TikTok. Things happening in the ballpark around our area. And there's a really fun one that is apparently a hot dog themed bachelorette party.
Minions! Tonight we steal the moon!
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Going to high. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Going to high. Let's go.
On the handstand, you got me sweating. Please pass me a fag.
Hey, Jake,
All right.
I don't know any of them.
No.
I don't know the bride, but I can unequivocally say to the groom, she's a keeper.
Well done. You done good, kid.
She's a keeper.
You done good, kid. I really want to know what our friends over at Wener Circle said whenever they walked in there. Because if you've never been there, they don't hold back.
I doubt they batted an eye. So that comes courtesy of @ShanFrancyQ. And I would love the backstory for that. But Jake, that is a welcome relief. You know, you see the bachelorette parties with the pageant-looking princess thing. You know,
you call them the woo girls.
Exactly. Yeah. This is next level.
You're laughing because you know what the woo girls. You know what the woo girls are.
Enlighten me.
You don't know what the woo girl? Well, it's just when you go, that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you see.
Oh, so there's not a huge backstory to it.
No, it's just that they literally oftentimes you can hear them coming from a mile away. Usually you're in like Nashville or something, and they come down the street and they all just collectively as a group just say woo.
Now I know what to call them, and without fail they do that. They make that noise.
The fact that I said it and then behind the scenes they knew exactly what we were talking about. Woo!
What was that hot dog chant from? Was that a movie reference?
What?
The hot dog chant at the beginning.
I don't know. I was trying to figure it out.
I didn't know if that was an independence. You know, today
at first I thought it was like an independent.
Me too. Very, very well done.
What was it?
Despicable Me was the first one.
Oh, it was Despicable Me.
Oh, the Minions. That's right. I should know that. Okay, so Jake, that begs the question.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a Chicago-themed bachelor party.
Yeah, bachelor party, right?
This is serious stuff,
It's
Jake.
very serious stuff. Okay, here's what's cool. So, this will be a surprise to no one that my buddies were all as much of a nerd as I am, right?
Okay.
And the great thing about the city of Chicago is it doesn't matter what corner you turn, there's some sort of place where a cool, iconic movie has been filmed. And I think it would be really cool to set up like 10 locations and then get a drink at each one. You go to where Nolan flipped the truck for Dark Knight. You take a drink.
Right.
You go to Green Mill, which they've blown up for every mob movie ever. You take a drink. You go to Art Institute. For Ferris Bueller. You take a drink. You go to one of the cross streets from Road to Perdition. You take a there's so many spots, and it could just be a movie. Roundabout movie tour of Chicago.
I follow a really cool Facebook page called Then and Now, like movies Then and Now.
Yes, yeah.
And I always spend so much time looking to see how the place has changed since it was filmed. Like, for example, the training facility in, I believe, San Diego for Top Gun, where, Maverick and Charlie get in that argument. I can't hear you. That scene? Those kind of, like, here's what it looks like in 2025. If you do that, taking the photo at every location.
Well,
that's a good idea.
there's someone that takes like screen grabs of the movie, and what they do is they hold it up so that it perfectly fits what they're looking at, and then they take a news shot of it, and it's very similar to what you're talking about. It's kind of like a then and now in the same shot.
I love it. So for that, again, your answer is way better than mine. Way more creative. I'm obsessed with the old style logo.
Sure.
Okay, the old style beer logo.
I was just at a local neighborhood fest, and they had one for sale.
Oh my gosh, that's
I would have bought.
So
I would
Jake,
have bought it for you.
Probably 20 years ago, I found one on eBay.
Yeah.
Is it eBay or Craigslist? Down in like southern Illinois.
Yeah.
I drove. This is when I was single. I
Right.
had time to do these kinds of things. Drove down state to find this thing. It was a working bar sign.
Sure.
Still have it in my basement, and I cannot tell you how many contractors, whatever, have come through my house offering me, hey, how much for the sign?
Yeah.
Long story short, I would go on like an old style tavern, because you know how, to me, that's like the second Chicago flag.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I would go around from dive bar to dive bar, like the old style.
Yeah.
You know, have an old style.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's probably what I would do. I didn't
like
plan
that.
mine. We did an out west thing for my bachelor party, but if I had to do a local one, I think it would be that.
I love that. That's a great answer.
Yeah, you know, I'm a creature of the city through and through, my friend.
I love it.
All right, another TikTok thing that is making the rounds. Okay, we're talking about driving here, and I don't know, is this a Midwest thing? You've lived in other parts of the country.
I was raised to do it in the South.
So you do it in the South.
Yeah,
we're talking about
I get frustrated when people don't do it.
Me too.
Yes.
I'm going to be real. If I let you over in traffic, you better give me my little wave. You better hit me with that.
Amen.
I agree with him.
Amen.
1,000%.
Me too. So what does your wave look like?
That's just a little hand up.
So it's hands up so that you make sure that they can see it through the rearview mirror.
Yeah. Hand up so they see it.
Every time without fail.
It's a little acknowledgement.
Now, you know what? I do need to admit that there are some times when I'm merging and maybe I'm a little on, like if I'm a little on the aggressive side, like putting my nose in, I will try to take the edge off by always giving the wave. So like I've muscled my way in. They had no intention of being polite to me. I forced them to be polite, but I always thank them on the back
Just like,
end.
hey, I understand what I just did.
Yes.
I get that please forgive me. I swear I'm not a terrible person, but I had to be put into this situation.
Exactly.
But then also, so I drive a Bronco, and there's like oftentimes with you know, a very specific sort of like a truck like that or like a Jeep or something, there's sort of a camaraderie of people that, you know, so if you ever see someone driving the same thing, so like if I'm driving, you know, you do the, you know, like if you see like a Bronco
for another Bronco, you do that. Do they do it back?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I know with Jeeps, I don't have one. The
Wrangler.
The thing is they leave the rubber duckies. That's a thing, right? Yeah, it's like a rubber. It's like if
on the dash.
I know some people they leave them on like the tires, and so if you ever see like someone with a Jeep and like they have a bunch of rubber duckies, it's like a thing.
The only thing I've seen with the Jeeps is an actual decal that goes across the top, which actually spells out it's a Jeep thing you wouldn't understand.
Oh, really?
Have you seen those ever? Keep your eye out for those.
I've seen a lot where it's like it's an upside down sticker that says like if you can read this, flip me over. That's the only one I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But there's like a camaraderie of of things.
Jake, I was on Lakeshore Drive one day and I remember sending a screen. I was sitting in traffic, so it wasn't dangerous for me to shoot the license plate of the car in front of me. But I remember sending this to Jake. This is years ago. The license plate was a vanity plate, and it actually said ASSMN.
No, which is a Seinfeld reference.
I can't remember if it was an Illinois plate. It's a Seinfeld reference. But I actually offhand can't remember if it was
an
Illinois
you
plate.
Me that.
Do you remember we've interviewed Alexi Janulius about what vanity plates have been approved
and then denied?
Yeah. How funny would it be to be on the committee that decides that?
Honestly, every single one I would just go approved. Just I don't see a problem with that.
Like Leslie Nielsen when he's the umpire for in Naked Gun. Strike. Jacob, you just like strike, approve. All right, so that begs another question. What do you think is the worst Midwestern driving habit that you have noticed on Chicago streets, Chicagoland streets?
Here's what I have noticed, and it just begs the point that it's all about perspective because I'm guilty of both.
Okay.
So what I mean by this is
Self-aware.
there have been times where, like, you know, I'm crossing a street and a car is like waiting to turn, but I have the right to cross.
So you're on foot.
Yeah, I'm foot, and I'm going.
Okay, you're a
"What do you
pedestrian.
and I'm going. I got the right of way. I got the. I can
yeah.
walk as however fast I'm walking.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm walking here.
I'm walking here. But then I've been on the flip side of it. I've been in my truck waiting for people to cross. I'm like, let's go, let's move. So I find that whatever situation I'm in, the other person's always in the wrong.
Ah,
So
that's a good strategy.
But it's important.
That's a good mental strategy.
But it's
The
important
other
to remember that, like, there have been times where, like, I try to remember when I'm behind the wheel going, you know what? Sometimes I'm the person walking too slow, and then sometimes when I'm the person walking, I go, you know what? Maybe they need to get through. Maybe they're going somewhere.
Yes.
So people can never move fast enough, I guess, is the answer.
We did years ago. I did a story. This hopefully we have it on our website still. But we went up to North Ashland where they had just installed these pedestrian crosswalks.
Yeah.
No stoplight.
Sure.
But a crosswalk
Yeah.
and like neon signs.
Yeah.
And we did a thought experiment and shot the story, packaged it up for the evening news. But it was, if you step into a crosswalk
Yep.
where there's no light, how many drivers actually stop?
Sure.
Because keep in mind, no stop sign,
Yeah.
no light,
Yep.
just the crosswalk and the pedestrian crossing
Yep.
sign. And I think it was something like, we did it all afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was like 9 out of 10 drivers don't even stop. You know what I mean?
Yikes.
And I've been guilty. I will say I've been guilty of
Sure.
that in the past too. It's a mental switch you really
Yeah.
need to be careful
Yeah.
about. But I think I'm going to take your attitude, Jake, which is it's just always the other person's fault.
I saw it, to your point. I saw a meme one time that really stuck with me because I saw it years back, and it was a tombstone, and it read, "He died how he lived, saying I have the right of way," as he stepped out into traffic. And I just thought every time I start to cross a crosswalk, I'm like, all right, I got to watch out for that.
It's quoting Point Break here. It's not so tragic to die doing what you love.
There you go.
Right.
God, what a class.
All right, my pet peeve, and I think I've mentioned this before, is that when you are at a stoplight
Yep.
intersection, standard configuration,
Sure.
and you're trying to turn left, and you're the first car, you got to go out into the intersection.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're turning
Yeah.
left, so that the car behind you
Yeah.
can have a stand. If there's a lot of traffic coming in the opposite way, because all too often I see people, they're turning left and they're not going beyond the crosswalk, and so they're going to get their turn. But all the traffic's coming, and when the light turns, guess what? I'm out of luck.
Yep.
So my pet peeve: pull out into
Just
that
a little-
intersection.
just
Get
be a
out
little
into that
aggressive. Be a little,
intersection.
you
You gotta
Show
look
people
out.
who you are.
Exactly. Just like the
Just
Hancock
like
Center.
the Hancock. Be the Hancock.
Be the John
Yeah.
Hancock Center, and then you give the driver behind you a fighting chance
Yeah.
to make that turn as well.
And you know what? Whenever that person gives you a fighting chance, give him a little wave.
Give him a little
Give 'em a
wave.
little wave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, before we go to break, we're going to talk about something everyone in the Midwest loves to complain about, and that is the weather. One Reddit user posted a public service announcement of sorts that's getting a lot of love and some laughs here. Title says it all: Midwest weather sucks. Here we go. Not just Chicago. Oh, this weather sucks everywhere in the Midwest and Northeast, not just Chicago. Feel like I'm taking crazy pills constantly hearing about how the past month is evidence of Chicago's crappy weather. I'm over the chill too, but nowhere you'd actually want to live has it any better or any worse.
Hi, Chicago. I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. If I don't see sun soon, I'm going to lose it. So please get it together. If I have to pull out my jacket and umbrella again.
This is a lot of us. Was it last week or the week?
I think it was.
Was it last week
a
or the week
large
before?
portion of May.
Yeah, a large
feel
portion
like,
of
you
May.
know?
That was it. Mike was saying, well, this is right before you got in.
Yeah.
But in certain parts of Northwest Indiana or Michiana,
Yeah.
30 degrees this morning.
That's nuts.
Or not 30, but in the 30s.
It's June 2nd.
June 2nd. That was Anita's reaction. She's like, it's June.
Yeah, it's
June.
Now that being said, I better be wearing like a Speedo in November. If we're gonna a late warm up, I want that. I want the time that we earned through the winter. That's how I look at
Jake,
it. As,
it's funny you mention that because right before I came up here, I believe it was New York Magazine.
Yeah.
I was reading an article. The headline was, "Are straight men ready for Speedo Summer?"
That's my secret, Anthony.
For
I'm
Speedo
always ready.
or Summer of Speedo.
I exist in constant state of
Listen,
Speedo
I
ready,
will
baby.
say, we've gone from the board shorts that went like under
down
your
here.
knee.
Yep.
Now
they're coming up.
Coming up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, the 3-inch inseam.
Yep.
Now it's
starting to look like, remember Matt Damon in Talented Mr. Ripley?
Oh, yeah.
He walked,
Oh, yeah.
The lime green. Dickie.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I do agree
They're
that
never going to let us do this show together ever again.
Exactly.
It's just random movie quotes for an hour.
And obscure ones from like the 90s.
Yeah.
Sorry, production team. All right. So do you have a personal Midwest weather deal breaker? I mean, you're still here.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I always tell people, because you get a lot of, when you talk to people that don't live in Chicago, hey, the winters. And I say, listen, like the temperature during the winter, I do not mind. I really look, does it get cold? Does it kind of suck? Yeah, you throw on a jacket, you dress accordingly. For me, it's the fact that it's the lack of sun. It's the fact that it gets dark around 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Especially with this shift.
The
that's the thing that I really had never experienced before moving here, that I really had to get used to. And then also plan according. Like I'd never taken vitamin D before, and I was like, I really should. Like it really makes.
I actually took it all the supplement, the daily supplement all winter this time. But I agree that it's not necessarily the temperature; it's the lack of light.
Exactly
that
right.
gets to you toward the end of February and March. It does. I mean, seasonal affective. That's a very very real thing. I had a moment yesterday that was a little bittersweet, because I was looking out my window and it was so green.
Yeah.
So green. Yeah. Like everything, I know it's been relatively dry, but I had this little moment of, oh no, this is going to be gray in like 9 months.
And it's June 2nd,
and I shouldn't say that yet. It's June 2nd. It just became this way. And I'm already like, anyway, that was
the first
not
time
pleasant.
you see that one of the little leaves falling, you're like, oh man.
Like, oh no.
Oh man.
All right, so we got a treat when we come back. Jake, as always, had a very cool interview, and he's going to run us through talking to the very lovely and talented and
Ana de
might I
Armas.
add, athletic?
Yes.
Ana de Armas.
Butt kicking,
oh my
as it were.
gosh. She and Jake are coming up just after this.
I think we need like an opening.
We need lyrics.
Did you see like Peacemaker, like the opening like dance? Well, that joke didn't go well.
Sorry.
It's like a dance. They
one
start every episode with like a big dance number, and I think that's what
really?
we should do. Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty
Well,
great.
we'll put that on the ChicagoNOW agenda.
Exactly right. Add
Come
it to
up
the
with
list.
a choreography.
Another thing that I'm going to need you to watch and get through is all four John
Wick
movies,
movies,
because
yeah.
you are a fan of a good action movie.
For sure. And I love Keanu.
Keanu, and it's a lot of them are directed by a guy named Chad Stahelski, who was Keanu's stunt double on movies like The Matrix. So this is a guy who understands great action, understands great...
Wait, so he was a stunt double who was turned into a director?
Yeah, he was a stunt man who became a director, yeah. Yeah,
wow.
Great guy.
Okay.
And also and which is happening more and more because a lot of these stunt doubles understand what makes
angles
great.
and things.
Yeah, exactly. The guy who directed Bullet Train with Brad Pitt was Brad Pitt's stunt double on Fight Club. Like that's how a lot of these, because they understand where these are coming from. That being said, there is a new action film coming out on Friday. It's called Ballerina. It is a spin-off of the John Wick films. It sort of exists within this universe. It stars Ana de Armas. And you might look at her and think, well, can she hold her own in a great action series like this? But if you saw the last Bond movie, you know that she can. She was the highlight of the movie No Time to Die. She had a fight sequence alongside Daniel Craig's James Bond and absolutely crushed it. She's a really great actress. She got an Oscar nomination for playing Marilyn Monroe, broke onto the scene. And the Blade Runner movie. Like she's a very strong actress. But when you watch these John Wick movies, one of the things I think you'll appreciate about them is that there is a mythology that is built. It's not just a hitman. He is a part of an organization, and this organization they have rules. And there's this hotel that they go to called the Continental, and you can check in if you're a part of the hitman group. But they have rules when you get there. You can't kill other people on the. There's an etiquette. There's an etiquette. That's a great way of putting it. So I had the chance to chat with Ana de Armas. And I just brought up the concept of rules and of etiquette. And I wanted to know at this point in her career, she's really exploding by now. And I wanted to know what are some rules that she finds important.
So much about the John Wick world is it's rules. And I've always kind of loved that they have to abide by a certain rule. I'd love to know as an actor, do you have a certain rule in your life, in your career that you've gotten to this point because you still follow that rule?
I think the rule I follow just in life, and certainly my career is a big part of my life. It's what I do is just to not be afraid of the challenge or the whatever's new. Like just go with it and push through, and something really amazing will come. It's going to be rewarding. So I just go and do the most difficult thing.
So much about the John.
Whenever you see, a lot of the projects that she does, the most difficult thing is putting it lightly. And she does a lot of the stunts in this. It's a lot of fight sequences where if you're going to shoot it well and you're going to be able to show us the action, you can't do the tap out. You got to learn how to do these sort of things. And it's, I watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and it's a really strong movie.
I can't believe there's so much talent wrapped up into a single individual. And I've heard a quote that her response to you reminded me of is like, if there's that lingering hard question that you just avoid asking yourself, that's probably exactly what you need to do. That reminds me of that. I think that's a very astute answer, and it doesn't sound like she has backed down from any kind of challenges on set.
You kind of look at everything that she's had thrown at her. I mentioned, while we were showing that she's in a really great movie called Knives Out. So she's kind of been sort of thrown into stuff. But this is really, I would say, probably the first. Well, no, I guess she did the Marilyn Monroe movie, the first big action movie that kind of rests on her. So she's a really strong actress. Some of the action sequences in this are really cool. There's a great sequence where there's a fight scene between a guy who has a flamethrower, and then she has one of those water hoses that firemen use, and the two just go at each other. It's stuff like that where just you and me would just be watching, just going, nice.
Well,
nice.
Yeah, the last time a flamethrower took center stage, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that was one of the hardest.
Yes.
I have laughed at a movie, and it felt like it built.
Yeah. And the actress.
Tarantino fans out there will appreciate
it's one of those, if you know who the actress was that he used the flamethrower on?
Who was it?
It was the woman who just recently won Best Actress for Honora.
Mikey
Madison. That's who he used. She was a part of the Manson group, and that's who he uses.
The Manson group had her and Austin Butler
and Ethan Hawke's daughter, Maya Hawke. Yeah, like that whole, and also the young actress from The Substance.
Oh, I haven't seen The Substance.
Yeah, I mean, like basically the entire.
Oh no, I have seen The Substance. Yeah. She's the one who hitchhikes
with
Brad Pitt. That's right.
Yeah.
The Substance.
They're never gonna let us do this show again together.
Oh my
Anthony.
gosh! This next topic too. When we come back, Jake, we're gonna be talking about the Northern Lights. This was Theo was begging me to stay up till 10 p.m. because his friend was going to go over to the lakefront last night to try to catch the Northern Lights. We did not do it. We said no. He's got school today. And also, when they say we weren't even in like we're definitely going to get the Northern Lights zone, it was like way further north. But Jake, before you go, because I know you're going after this, the first time I'd ever seen an image of the Northern Lights in Chicago was on your social media. Tell folks about that.
Well, it was lucky enough because we've got a great team of meteorologists here at Fox 32, and they're so good about not just telling us what the weather is going to be, but also little fun things like look out your window right now. You never know this thing you're going to see. And I remember my mom was visiting town last summer, I believe, and I want to say it was Emily Walls one night. We were watching like the late night news, and she was Emily Walls said something along the lines of like, hey, if you're in downtown Chicago, look outside. You might, and I'm lucky enough I was able to walk out on the balcony and sort of look out over Navy Pier, and there they were. And what was really
wild.
cool, my mom had had said, I've always wanted to see them, and she had no idea that when they were going to be here.
I saw them for the very first time, and I grew up here, so not far from Wisconsin, where you can see them fairly regularly. I hadn't seen them until this past year. So, Jake, maybe during the break, I don't know if that's still in your feed.
I can find it. I'll find
I would
it
love for you. I don't know if we can turn it around in time, but it was a cool image, and I remember just thinking, that can't be real.
If we can air the flamethrower scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
then we could do. Okay.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
All right, brother.
All right. Good to see you as always, Jake.
See you tomorrow.
Mañana. We got Jake Hamilton back in house, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by none other than our web trending queen, Justine Baker, who's got her finger on the pulse of everything trending here in Chicago. She is going to be joining us when we come back. All right, welcome back to this Monday edition of Chicago Now. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. We are joined now by Justine Baker, whose daily task includes, of many tasks, you always send out to the newsroom, hey, what is trending? What are Chicagoans searching for? So you've got like a front row seat to like all this, whatever, you like know our mind, our collective mind better than we do.
Yeah, I love to look and see what trends and data people are looking at. And the number one thing today was the Northern Lights. I know you were just talking about that. Have you ever seen them?
I finally saw them for the very first time last year. We were on a trip to Michigan. We were all sitting around a bonfire. We had rented like an Airbnb with the family, a couple of families and everything. Kids had gone to bed. We're sitting there around the bonfire, and all of a sudden, the first thing we noticed was these vertical beams of light. They just seemed to be coming down. I took a picture of it myself, actually. And we were all like, wait, what are we even seeing right now? And we have an au pair. We had an au pair at the time. She lived with us for a year, and she was from Colombia. They don't have the Northern Lights down there. So the funniest thing was seeing, because it was my first time seeing them too, but her mind was absolutely blown when she saw. Have you seen them before?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh, you will remember when you first do. It is like, whoa, what are we looking at?
Yeah, I was in Seattle last year and people saw them, and I just happened I missed it. So one of these days I have to see it. If you could see any world wonder or phenomenon like that, what would you pick?
Oh my gosh, okay, Northern Lights, world wonder. Ooh, I'm a sucker for a good shooting star.
Okay.
Yeah, a comet. That would be cool to see.
One.
Yeah. How about you?
Since I haven't seen the Northern Lights, I'd want to do that, but not in Chicago or like a normal city. I have to be in the snow next to a polar bear, like a Coca-Cola commercial.
Oh,
you know, like I want the full experience. I
was gonna say, well, it'd be cool to see a tornado, but from like as long as I knew the tornado wasn't coming any. Yeah, I'm fine with the videos, but yeah, I've always been curious to know what it. But I'm not trying to put that on the universe at all. But in terms of phenomenon, that would be a wild one too. Oh, here we are. Is this Jake's shot? Look at that. So it's interesting. You see those vertical lines on so the green splotch is right over the Ferris wheel, the big green splotch.
Okay.
But the first thing we saw were those vertical. It's almost like stardust, or it's like you're seeing the galaxy or something. So that was what we first noticed. We're like, what are all those vertical lines? And then all of a sudden we saw the green.
And that's such a great picture too.
Isn't that so cool? And Justine, here in Chicago, obviously you can see all the lights there. Light pollution is a big thing. So like stargazing is almost non-existent here in Chicago. But you were like, to your point about being in the mountains and stuff.
Right.
There's a place, I believe it's in Hoosier National Forest, where it is I think that for our viewing area at least, it's the closest like dark spot. Like you go over there, there's so few towns, and whatever towns there are, there's like one stoplight. And so if you really want to do some good stargazing without going too far, you should head over to Hoosier National Lakeshore. It's just on the other side of the lake. It's only about an hour and a half away.
Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Do that.
You should do that.
It might not beat the Antarctic
you'd be on top of a sand dune instead of a snow-capped peak. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
So the second thing that's trending right now are lectures on tap. Have you heard of them?
I have not.
So it's a new TikTok viral sensation where professors and grad students go to a bar and they give a lecture on any topic they want. It could be something like why a certain pizza is the best, or the best candy.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at footage of this right now. You stopped doom scrolling and started going to bars because there's a new event series in Chicago where professors come into bars to give lectures while people listen to them over drinks. Awesome. I wonder what she's talking about right there. What are some of the topics they've been going into, Justine?
They could be anything. They
could academic topics?
They could be academic topics. They could be something fun. A lot of the times people are just there to listen. They have a great drink. They have a good conversation with other people, and they're just learning. So if you had to go to one of the bars, what would you give a topic on?
Oh, well, if I was giving the lecture
You were giving the lecture yourself.
Ooh, I'm not expert in too many things. I'm kind of more of a generalist.
What about music? Maybe
music.
Piano,
Yeah, I could do a piano. I could do a piano. I could give some basics. I'd need a little keyboard there. You know, one thing Caitlin would sometimes I would do maybe a little bit of dream interpretation too. I know a thing or two. I know a thing or two about dream. If you ever have any crazy dreams and need like a little perspective on it, I've been studying that in my free time for a very long time.
Then.
Sure.
If I'm running in my dream for a long time, what does that mean?
You might be running away from a problem.
Ooh. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and so the theory is, and this is not mine, it's research, but that the unconscious speaks in symbols. And so if you're having images in your dream of running, in the dream, are you running from anything or are you just running?
I'm just running.
You're just running. Maybe, I'd need know a little bit more about your psychology, but
I would sit and listen to you say this for 10 minutes in a bar, nice little cocktail.
Maybe in terms of your workload, and we could go into a therapy session here, but like workload, pace of your life, is it pretty quick?
Okay, yeah.
So it might be a reflection of that.
Look, we got
the dreams speak in images like that. But anyway, we could for sure dive into that.
I think mine would be a Midwestern goodbye. How to do a Midwestern goodbye.
Oh, let me hear about it. I don't know. I don't know the Midwestern Goodbye. Let me hear it. Run me through.
So
give a mini lecture right now.
My mini lecture. Here, you guys get it for free. So you start by
Hold on, I need a beer. I need a beer.
Yeah, no. You start by sitting and you say, well, that was a great conversation.
Okay.
You got to do a little sigh, performative.
Sure.
Right? We're getting up. Now
Yeah.
we're going to go by the front door. We're going to continue the conversation. Yeah, so how was the kids?
Yeah.
Wrap that conversation back up again.
By the door.
By the
It's
door.
got to be by the door.
Like 10
so like
minutes.
4 or 5 people just
Four or five
huddled
people.
around the door.
Yep, we're still
there.
talking. Then we go to the porch. I'm saying bye. I'm saying, all right, Anthony, I'll see you later. Oh, what was that recipe again? You got to bring it back around. Eventually, I'm going to work my way to the car. In the car, turn the window down. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I'll see you again maybe next week. Chat it up for another 5 minutes.
There you go.
While I'm backing up, it's a little wave. It's
From
a
the
little,
porch?
From the car. I put it in reverse. All right, all right. Then I'm driving down. I make it home. I send you a text once I make it home.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have to follow back up.
Do you go honk on the way out?
Yeah,
the goodbye honk.
Just a little goodbye
okay.
honk.
And then once you get home, there's the text, I made it home fine.
Yes, it's a solid 45-minute Midwestern goodbye. It's not quick.
So, all right. I'm gonna give you okay. So I paid attention. So starts with the sigh.
Yeah, sigh, a whelp.
45 minutes
whelp.
whelp. 45 minutes later ends with the text. The goodbye text.
Yep.
Okay, I like it. I think that's very accurate because I'm thinking to myself, I've been in that situation a lot, where you're at a dinner party and it's like a stages.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a phases of goodbye. Wow.
It takes some time. It takes some time. I think I could do a 10-minute lecture on it.
I think so too. And then there's the opposite, which a lot of folks, sorry to offend any Irish viewers this afternoon, but the so-called Irish goodbye, when you're at a bar and it's just literally like you're mid-drink, you're in a conversation with someone, you turn around to say, and the person's just gone.
They're gone. They left forever ago.
Hopefully that's not too un-PC. We're on digital right now, so I'm feeling a little freer.
So our next topic. People are looking up the Chicago Sky mascot. Last year they got a new mascot, and it's urging people to know, are mascots important? Do we still need mascots in this day and age?
Need. I'm bad with who is the Sky, is it a...
Now it's Sky the Lioness.
Sky the Lioness. Now that actually does ring a bell. I have yet to go to a Sky game, which I regret. Okay, Sky the Lioness. And it used to be Sky Guy?
It used to be Sky Guy.
Okay.
But it's changed.
Mascots are... I think I like a good mascot. I think it adds to the ambiance of a game.
I agree.
To like have the guy, high-fiving and all that stuff and doing flips or whatever.
I think.
How about you?
Who doesn't love a 6-foot random furry creature that's doing backflips randomly,
jumping off a trampoline, flipping around and dunking a basketball,
doing the worm, the craziest things. I absolutely love it. And I feel like if I'm going to spend $20 on a hot dog combo, I want to be seated next to somebody that's doing some random activity. I want to be next to a dancing lemur if I'm paying $20 for a hot dog.
Listen, all things being equal, mascot or no mascot, mascot.
Right, we gotta have a mascot.
Yeah, I agree. And I was kind of like going through in my brain what the Chicago sports mascots. I know we White Sox, we have Southpaw.
Okay.
Is our... But he doesn't have anything to do with baseball. It's just like a green googly-eyed creature.
Right.
The Bears one makes a little more sense. It's Staley. Have you ever met Staley?
I haven't.
Okay, Staley, full of energy, always trying to steal the spotlight. Mike Kaplan has tried to give weather forecasts and Staley's around. Staley does not let it go smoothly. He's kind of an attention hog.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
And you know, speaking of mascots, we actually have a few that we are going to try and guess and see who they are.
Okay.
No, we don't have a lot of time.
We got a couple seconds
do a
here.
quick run. What in the world is that?
Oh my gosh, that's the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, so you know it.
Yeah, but I don't know the name of the mascot.
You know, I was gonna guess like a lint
What's his
ball.
name? Gritty.
Gritty.
That's not the only one that's like completely random. Like
so many random ones.
Anyway, Justine, you are welcome back anytime to run us through what is trending. Thank you for joining us for this Monday edition of Chicago Now. I will see you right back here with JK